Hello. Welcome to this session on the European Investment Project Portal. Very glad to have you with us here today. To explain to you a little bit what the portal is first, I thought we would begin just by giving a very quick overview in a nutshell. It's the EU's matchmaking portal, which means that it tries to give visibility to EU-based projects to investors anywhere across the world. So it publishes details of those projects and it tries to connect them to investors who might be interested in investing in those projects and in financing them. But before we actually start, I thought we would start with a little video. Everyone likes videos. From our Vice President, Still Katainen, to explain to you what the portal is. Hopefully it will show soon. Okay, this is it.
I just got a message about this great project. It is an innovative device helping patients track their medical progress. This device would help millions of people in their rehabilitation process. Consumers saving money and investors earning it. But there's a problem. Ideas need opportunities and investors to make them happen. So how can we help? Come, follow me. This is the InvestEU portal. It works like an online speed dating platform for EU projects and investors worldwide and finds the perfect match. And what is really great about it? It's free, easy to use, safe, one-stop shop with no middleman. And it's not only for big projects, even small ones can apply. I just found a match. There's a potential investor that is willing to support and profit from innovations in health. Now this project idea can become a reality. And it will not just help patients in their recovery, it will also create new jobs. So, are you an investor or project promoter? And do you want to try? Then all you have to do is register. The next success story may be yours.
Okay, so hopefully that gave you a little bit of an overview of what it is that we're trying to do with this portal. We're trying really to connect the gap between EU-based projects that are looking for financing and investors that may not really know where to look in terms of what Europe has to offer. So first things first, what is the EIPP really? It's an online portal in which we publish details of European companies who will register themselves and the projects for which they seek financing and tries to connect them with investors anywhere in the world, so these don't have to be just based in the EU, who are looking to invest in EU projects. The platform itself is completely public. It's free to use for anyone to register, either EU companies or investors. We currently have almost 900 projects published there. Those profiles are all public and free for anyone to consult. We also have close to 300 investors. Now, that data is not public, but we have that information. And investors, in fact, have to register to be able to contact the companies, which is a feature offered by the portal, whereby we will see that in just a moment. On the details of every given project, you have a contact button on which investors can get directly in touch with the companies without kind of involving the commission. So we remove ourselves as the middleman and try really to let the market, do its thing. It's completely free and easy to use. So this is just to give you an overview of what the homepage would look like. In terms of who is eligible, so EU, the purpose of the portal is really to boost investment in the EU. So on the eligibility basis for EU companies, that's what it is just for companies and projects based in EU member states in terms of the geographical scope. And obviously they have to comply with EU and member state laws. Also the projects have to have already started or start within the next 3 years, so nothing too kind of far down the line. Only legal entities is quite important, so no individuals, so it has to be a legal entity registered as a kind of a company to be able to do that. And obviously we always encourage that the project is described as an investment project as thoroughly as possible. Obviously investors like to have as much information as possible before having to take kind of the next step and contact. When we get these projects submitted to us, so we have a wide range of projects on the portal that are submitted, and in terms of size, the only criteria is that the total estimated cost of the project, now this can be kind of its total implementation from beginning to end, has to be at least 1 million euros. So that doesn't mean that it's the kind of total financing for the next phase that the company is looking for. They may or may not have obtained already part of that, but it's kind of the estimated total cost. Also worthy of mentioning is the fact that this isn't actually linked to any other EU funding program. So it is not a prerequisite for the projects that apply to here to have applied or even to have received, any kind of, funding, financing grant from the EU. It's really open to all projects and companies. Once we receive a project, we do an internal screening process to check the quality and the legality of the project and the company. So this is done internally within ECFIN, which is the service within the Commission that powers this portal. So it's a DG for Economic and Financial Affairs. But we also consult other services within the Commission, depending on the sector of the project. So for example, if it's a sector within something to do with the environment, we would obviously consult DG Environment for their input on whether they, support the project, being published or not. This is called an inter-service consultation, and we also consult with member state representatives and the Commission representations of the given member state of that company and project. This is what the homepage looks like, just to give you a quick overview. Of course, it goes without saying, I highly encourage you to go and visit the portal to see for yourself and to have a bit of a play. I will give you the URL at the end, but this is just to give you really a snapshot. So on top of the top half, where you can see, again, a nutshell of what the IPP is all about, you can see an example of a video of one of the success stories that we have, of which I will speak about in a little bit longer. You can search for projects, you can add your project if you're a company, or you can register as an investor, if you are an investor. You see also the list down on the left of the latest projects, which you can see zoomed in here at any given moment, the latest ones that have been published. And you see also the sector's overview, and so a breakdown of the number of projects by sector. So in terms of sectors, you see there the kind of 6 major sectors that we have grouped them into. But in fact, the portal covers all kind of 25 sectors of the EU economy, and this goes from energy, transport, research and innovation, digital, really anything you can think of is covered here. We really haven't put any restrictions in that sense. Once, let's say, just go back quickly, if you were to click on the dark blue button, so to search for all projects, that will let you search the entire database of what we have. But let's say, as we know, investors, they're very different. If you're a business angel or you're a venture capital fund, you'll be looking for something completely different than if you were a large corporate or institutional investor. So you can kind of pre-filter by that. So the 2 smaller light blue buttons let you pre-filter if you're just looking for projects from, startups or SMEs, or if you're looking for larger infrastructure innovation projects. But say you're just curious and you want to know, what it is that we have up there, you could click on the dark blue button, and this is what you would see. So you can see the different search and filtering criteria that we offer. This is expanded. You can filter by sector, as I mentioned, we have 25 in total. You can also filter by country, so by member state. And kind of the type of project, like I mentioned, is it a startup SME, is it a larger infrastructure project? And really you can focus your search in this way. So say you are, I don't know, a venture capital fund and you're only interested in digital projects or companies from, let's say, France. You can really narrow down your search and it will just show you that if you don't want to really browse around almost 1,000 projects. Then once you do that, it will show you this, which is what we call the card view, and it's mobile adaptable, so mobile and tablet friendly. It shows you kind of an overview at a glance, the main data of the project. So you have the name of the project, you have on the right the logo and the name of the company. Also very important, the percentage that's already been financed of that project, and you see the little bar there. You have a kind of a bit of a more thorough description of the project, the member state it's based in, and the sector. What you see also there on yellow is a mention of the Seal of Excellence, which I don't know if you're familiar with. It's actually an initiative of DGRTD, and it's basically a certificate of quality that DGRTD awards to projects which have applied for Horizon 2020 funding but have not received it, not because of the quality of the project, but just due to Commission budgetary restrictions. So it's a way of signaling to investors that this has been recognized and has been kind of pre-filtered and vetted by the Commission as a high-quality project, and that investors should take particular attention to this. So we have established quite a thorough collaboration with our colleagues from this service, and we flag every project that comes from there to attract even more the interest of investors. This is an example of what a typical project page would look like once you click on one of those cards. And it shows you, again, a little bit every time you go further, it goes into more detail. So a bit more of a thorough project description. Also very important, we find, for startups and SMEs in particular. We ask, now it's compulsory when projects register, that they provide a short biography and a picture of the CEO, because as I'm sure you know, for investors, for small companies, the team is just as important as kind of the project itself. So we have that on the top right-hand corner. As I mentioned, we have which member state, which sector it's based. Also over there you see pitch book. This is something that, again, we very much encourage companies to provide. A pitch book, also called an investor's deck, which is something that investors very much like to have. So as a company, when you register, you can provide this either freely downloadable, which you will see in green, or you can say, actually, there's some sensitive data in there, and I really want to provide that just on demand. So then the investors would get in contact via this contact this promoter button down here, and they can say, hey, I saw your project on here, it looks interesting, I might be willing to invest, let's take the discussion further, could you send me your pitch book, and can we talk? And again, easy first contact in the sense that, as I said, we remove ourselves as the middleman. What is it that we're trying to do here? What's the challenge versus solution that we're trying to propose? Is that we have found that entrepreneurs, so companies, they really struggle, in the sea of projects. There's so much out there, so many good quality, innovative companies. But how do you stand out, and how do you make yourself more visible to investors without investing a lot of your time and effort to go out there to events all the time? So we want to be that tool. We want to provide this platform, which is free of use, which kind of aggregates all of these quality projects so that investors know that it's a one-stop shop and they can come here and they don't need to waste their time, which is the issue we find on investors' side. They don't want to be scouting around. So it's true that, they get a lot of offers and solicitations from companies, but then they need to kind of sort out the good from the bad. And we like to think that we do that for them beforehand, so that when they come on the portal, they know that this is a quality kind of certificate in a way, a guarantee that, the Commission has pre-vetted these projects and that they are good quality projects. In terms of, as I said, what is it that it offers companies? It is free, completely free of use. It's user-friendly. We are constantly updating the tool itself to make it more and more user-friendly and kind of intuitive. Provides visibility, as I said, helps you stand out from the crowd. More on that later. Direct contact, so there's kind of no intermediary, and you just cut to the chase and get contacted by investors directly. And also, which I will elaborate on slightly later, meetings with investors face-to-face, as we organize regular matchmaking events, so physical matchmaking events, either on our own or with some of our internal or external partners, where we put, companies and investors face-to-face in bilateral meetings in a kind of speed dating format, as the Vice President said, to really, help kind of foster that, because we've found that obviously the tool, I think, is something very useful, but at the end of the day, it complements each other in the sense that there's no substitute for, face-to-face personal contact. So we try to provide that as well. For investors, as I mentioned, it's a one-stop shop. You have almost 1,000 investment opportunities there now. You can focus that, if you want, only on the areas that you're interested in by targeted results. You can contact them directly, no need to go through, the perceived red tape of the commission, perhaps sometimes. And then you can go and meet them face-to-face and really maximize your time, because at these events, it's kind of a speed dating format. So you will meet a lot of companies that will pitch to you directly. You get a feel for the person, and obviously you hear about the company firsthand, and you can have 5, 6, 10 meetings in one afternoon, and then you get a good sample basically of what we have to offer. Success stories, as I mentioned, where are we now? So the portal was launched in June 2016. It was kind of quite slow at first, but then it's grown quite exponentially over the last year and a half, I would say, where we've almost trebled the number of projects that we have. So bearing that in mind, this is where we are now. We have just over 50 projects that have received financing after being published here on the portal. 4 of those cases we've featured in testimonial videos, which you can see either on the EIPP website or also, on social media. For example, I will show you the handles at the end on the ECFIN accounts or the European Commission accounts. And, as you can see, they are quite diverse from different kind of areas and types of projects. You have from AI in Austria to kind of micro-satellites, micro-launchers, so quite wide-ranging in terms of what we cover. And yes, 5 more of these videos so that we can give you kind of a taste of what it is that these projects that we're helping make happen are currently in production, actually, and we will be releasing that by the end of the year. So kind of stay tuned. If you want to follow us on social media later, you will see those popping up. And in fact, if we could have a look at one of those now, that would be great, just to give you a quick taste. It's a very short video, so that you can see an example of what we're helping make happen, basically, here with the portal. Thank you.
Ecoduna started as a very interesting project. The 2 founders were convinced that microalgae in future could provide biofuel to mankind. The European project was €2 million, where co-funding had to be found in the region here. Just a year ago, we started to build the big plant. As you can imagine, with a technology like this, where everything needs to be newly established, it was not so easy to find partners. And here again, the European Commission helped us to bring €18 million to the green life of Ecoduna. Now we are here in a 1-hectare plant and will be able to produce 100 tons of dry biomass per year. So what my advice then would be to SMEs, be brave and step forward with bigger amounts, and don't limit yourself by having not enough financing.
Okay, so hopefully that gave you a little bit of an overview. Now, just to clarify one thing, which perhaps I didn't make clear earlier, the portal actually doesn't provide any financing, so it's purely a visibility tool. So when the CEO of that company mentions that they received, I think it was 18 million from the European Union, they were actually the beneficiaries of the SME instrument. I don't recall whether phase 1 or 2, and that's what she's referring to there. So in addition to that, they also received private investment, after being on the portal with that help. And on that also, I just want to mention that that's one of the benefits actually that we provide companies. So these videos are filmed, free of charge by us, by the Commission. So when a project, a company registers on the portal, we will check in with them regularly and kind of ask, okay, where are you? Did you receive any more financing since you were published? If they have, then they become eligible basically for us to fly out to their premises and to film one of these videos, which we then promote on social media, on our website. It's just kind of a way to show A, how the portal works and how it's helping, and B, more importantly, what these companies are doing, how they're innovating in Europe. Matchmaking that I mentioned earlier, so as a complement to the online tool, again, no substitute for face-to-face contact. So what we do is we organize, sometimes with some of our partners, sometimes on our own, physical matchmaking events. So you have an example over there on the left of some of our partners that we co-organize some of these events with. And here on the right, you see an image of the matchmaking event that we organized earlier this year here in Brussels, which, as I mentioned, with our colleagues from the Seal of Excellence program, where over almost 300 participants were there, over 200 projects, and meeting investors face to face. And so these are the kinds of events that we help organize and promote. Again, this gives you a snapshot of what it was like, and we like to offer this as kind of a service to complement the portal in itself and the tool, and we find that they fit very nicely together. Now, going forward, what's in the future for the European Investment Project portal? As you may have heard, post-2021, the Commission will go into a next multi-annual financial framework, so kind of its next phase. And from there, the EIPP, as we call it now, will become the InvestEU portal. It will become part of the InvestEU program, which will be kind of an umbrella program led by DG ECFIN, but also in collaboration with many other DGs, that will be an umbrella program to unite, a number of financial instruments, almost a dozen, that were previously, led by separate DGs and were separate entry points, so that when you were a company or a project and you wanted to apply, for funding, you had to know exactly, which sector you fell in, what are you looking for, and we listen to you, that there's a sea out there of kind of solutions and, financial instruments, grants, or what have you, that the Commission offers, and it's kind of confusing from the user end, I would say. So that's kind of the solution we're proposing post-2021. So we're uniting many of those into one single entry point, so that you as a company, you can come in and you can say, okay, this is what I would like to do, this is what I'm looking for, this is who I am, what can you do? And we will kind of take it from there and guide you depending on whether, you fall into, you're an SME or you're kind of an infrastructure project, and whether you fall into different categories. We will kind of guide you, and the burden is no longer on you. So we aim to facilitate basically things for you and really streamline it. So I urge you to look into that if you're interested. And as part of that, as I mentioned, the portal will become the InvestEU portal. It will build on what it is currently. It would continue to offer this pipeline of European projects, but the one difference is that we will have implementing partners, such as, for example, the European Investment Bank and European Investment Fund, who will have an obligation to look into the projects on the portal with a view potentially to finance them. So we will be working more closely with them, with better ties, to hopefully, again, enhance the visibility and the financing that, the projects that we have on there get. But we will also look to keep enhancing the tool, because currently, as I mentioned, it's led only by DG ECFIN, but post this, we aim for it to become kind of the Commission's central portal. We aim to be, as I mentioned, as wide wide-ranging as possible, so we don't really place any barriers on the sector of the project, on the type of the companies. Can be from small startups, SMEs, scale-ups, larger, corporations, and with larger infrastructure projects. So we don't place any of those barriers because we want to be as inclusive as possible. And so this is what we aim to do post-2021, for it to become the kind of central EU-wide repository, so that investors know this is where they have to go. And we will work closely with other Commission DGs, which were previously leading all these different programs, to make it an even better and more value-added competitive tool. So this is it for me. As I promised earlier, this is the URL of the portal, should you wish to check it out for yourselves, which I very much encourage, and have a look and play around a little bit and see how it could be of interest to you to register. It's very easy and fast to register as a company. It's just kind of the basic company profile and the project, what it is that you're looking for, how much financing, what kind, how much have you already received, and then that's it. Then we screen it for you and we'll put it up a few weeks later. I encourage you to follow us on social media, as I said, for any news about recent or upcoming events, videos that we might have. And of course, should you have any questions, of technical nature while registering on the portal, or just you want more information, feel free to contact my very nice colleagues who run the help desk, and we'll be very happy to answer any questions you might have, as will I right now. So I'd like to open the floor to questions. If anyone has any, I'd be very happy to answer them. Yes, sir. I have one person.
Hello.
Hello.
My name is Barry Sharples. I'm the CEO of an SME biotech business producing stem cell therapies. I'd like the Commission's view on where you actually see the portal currently in the life cycle of businesses. What series of finance is it aimed at?
Thank you for your question. So, as mentioned earlier, really any is the short answer. We don't, again, put in any barriers and that kind of thing. We have very early stage companies, we have growth companies. It really doesn't matter in a sense, because we try to encompass everyone, basically. And I think that's kind of our value added, is that there's something in there for everyone. So if you're an investor who hears about this, either on social media or one of the events that we attend to promote it, we go, for example, to the Web Summit every year, which you may have heard as a very highly attended event. They want to make sure that they find what they're looking for, and so we don't really restrict it. So yes, to answer your question, we have from very kind of early stage, Series A's to B, we have everything on there. So yes, hopefully that suits everyone. Thank you. Anyone else have a question? Oh, sorry. Sorry.
Sorry, I just have more of a technical question, because you said 2021 it will turn into the new portal. Any idea, like Q1, Q2?
We were currently working on it to prepare the ground, like I said, with our colleagues from other services, and along with the InvestEU program that I mentioned, the new version will hit the ground in January 2021, so right from the beginning.
Okay, thank you.
We have one over here. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the presentation. You mentioned that you have organized matchmaking events with investors. When it will be the next one? Can you please tell us with frequency you organize them? Thanks.
Thank you. So we've organized several now. As I mentioned, some of them were in cooperation with our partners. So we've organized 3 so far with something called the IBAN, the European Business Angels Network, which you may be familiar with. And they have kind of biannual events, an event in the summer, kind of a summer congress, and also in the kind of autumn, winter sort of summit. So we, as part of that, we've collaborated on that, and we've ran matchmaking meetings throughout those events. So I believe last year, we started, so this year we had one in Helsinki, because kind of they travel with usually with the presidencies of the Commission, so we did that one, and we did previously in the previous autumn, there was one in Luxembourg. The autumn before that, it was in Sofia in Bulgaria. And those are kind of in partnership with an external partner in this case. We've also co-organized kind of pitching events with, again, something you might have heard of called Euroquity, which is an online platform very similar to ours, actually, actually, but focused on SMEs only, run by the National Promotional Bank BPI France. So we kind of co-organized the pitching event with them again last autumn in Vienna. And also with our colleagues from DG Grow, they organize yearly the European SME Week, and the flagship event of that is the SME Assembly every November. And we ran an EIPP matchmaking event there, again in collaboration with them, last year in Tallinn, I believe it was, and last year in Graz in Austria, and the year before that in Tallinn in Estonia. But the main one that you saw the pictures of is what we did call the InvestEU matchmaking event, the one I referred to with 300 participants. And that was one run only by us and organized only by us. It was the first of its kind. And yeah, we very much hope to answer your question, to keep on with these other events with our partners, so several times a year, although these are smaller ones. And for this one, we hope to do it on a yearly basis. So this one was in March of this year, and I can't confirm a date yet, but I would say that it probably will be around, Q2 of next year. So somewhere between kind of March and June. But certainly, what we will do, this next year, probably we will get in touch basically with projects and the companies that are already registered on the portal, and invite them to the event if and when we organize it at that point. So yes, again, one more reason I encourage you to register, so that you're kept up to date on what happens and you can participate in these things. Any more questions? Yes, I think we have one at the front.
Catherine Dupin, University of Lille. It could be strange for university, but we have startups and spin-off in our incubator, so they could be interested by this means of financing. I have one question I didn't really understand very well. You said that the total budget should be above 1 million euros, so which means that the project has been financed. And you also show some cases where you've got the seal of excellence, which means that the project were not financed. So could you please explain a bit more?
Absolutely, I'd be happy to. So indeed, just to clarify, all the projects that we have on there have not been 100% financed. So if you recall, I can actually go back to that slide to show you. On the kind of the card view, where you saw a bar with the percentage of financing, it was that one. You see you have there some of them, so the top one, for example, hasn't received any financing yet. Some of them have 20%, 30%. So that's the amount of financing they've received when they come to us, when they're published on the portal. So none of them are 100% financed, hence why some of them have the seal of excellence. And that's actually what we're trying to do. We're trying to get them to 100%. So apologies if I was unclear on that. But in fact, when I refer to the 1 million threshold, it's actually the total amount of financing they think they will need overall to, complete the next phase of their project, or kind of finish and put it to market. So that's what we mean. So it's not the current kind of already in operation, but what they estimate they will need to complete it. So none of them are financed, which is the objective we're trying to reach. I hope that was clear. Thank you. Okay, last one, we need to wrap it up. Yes.
That means that you have a criteria to select for a project and company. And then if you can give roughly a percentage of, now that you are in full regime, more or less, how many present the wish to be published in your portal, and how many will be then published?
How do you mean, sorry, how many from who we get contacted from, or?
Yes, exactly.
Okay,
and which is the major criteria for you to take them in or leave them out?
Okay, you mean from the screening that we do when we receive them? Okay. So as I mentioned, first of all, the main criteria that I mentioned was on there. So that's kind of the very basic. If they don't fulfill all those criteria, then that doesn't work. And then after that, I also want to stress that what we do is kind of some basic screening, in the sense, we check, does the company exist? Is this legal? Is the company who is claiming to be that company actually that company? That's more of an issue. And yeah, also other things like the information that we ask for, we might kind of double check on information that's publicly available. For example, most companies now obviously have a website, so we kind of double check if it checks with what's on there. Sometimes, you know, people make mistakes on forms, that kind of thing. But it's some very basic screening at the level of in terms of we don't go any further, so we don't actually perform any due diligence on the companies. That's really on the onus is on the investor for that. So we do provide kind of the screening in the sense that we do the checks I just mentioned, and also we consult our colleagues to say, okay, this is the project we have, it falls in your area. I gave the example of environment, but it could be any other area, transport, energy, and we consult with our colleagues from those services, and again, they provide input and they say, okay, we think this is a good quality project or not. And I think it's difficult for me to kind of qualify or quantify what constitutes a good quality project, but I think it's something that we feel it's viable, it's something that, you know, the market needs. Obviously, if it's something innovative, you know, obviously even better. And I think, you know, that kind of, it's kind of almost obvious in a way. And it's not, you know, we don't have a set of strict criteria in the sense that we don't perform the due diligence, but we check kind of the general quality of the project. And then, yeah, if kind of all the services concur that, okay, clearly this is a good, innovative quality project, it ticks all the boxes in terms of legality, everything, then okay, it's put forward and it's published. If it fails on any of those bases, if it's something, sometimes we have things very kind of outlandish and not really, you know, viable, marketable, then obviously, then, you know, they wouldn't really qualify. I hope that was clear. Okay, thank you very much. I'm afraid we have to wrap this up. Thank you for being here, and please check it out. Thank you.
Hi everyone, just outside we're going to be awarding the Innovation Radar Prize just now. You'll see people are gathering, so you're all very welcome to join us. Thank you.